Welcome back to another cartridge comparison, and in today's video it's the battle of the varmint cartridges. We're going to look at the somewhat new 204 Ruger. We're going to compare it to the tried and true 22-250 Remington. We're going to find out which one is technically the fastest. We're going to see which one is a little bit more versatile and which one might be the best varmint cartridge for you. Hope you enjoy the video. In 2004, Ruger and Hornady created their very first cartridge, the 204 Ruger. So this is where it all started for Hornady. And what Hornady wanted to do was to make a competitor for the 22-250. What they wanted was a very high velocity cartridge that even recoiled even less than a 22-250. And I think they achieved that. So the 204 Ruger parent case is the triple deuce Remington Magnum, and it's pretty actually similar to a 223 Remington case. It's a little bit longer, but with it shooting 20 caliber bullets, man, can this thing just shoot extremely fast. Let me show you some of the velocities. All right, we're just gonna see what it does with the smallest bullet and the fastest velocities it can get. A 24 grain bullet, which is really tiny, you can get that moving at 4,500 feet per second. Now, some of the more popular size bullets are the 32 grain, and it's 4,200 feet per second. And I believe the largest bullet you can shoot, at least from Hornady, is, this 40 grain, which is going 3,850 feet per second. It's quick and pretty darn effective. Let's see now how it compares to the 22-250 Remington. Like many of Remington's cartridges, the 22-250 started out as a wildcat. It started out in the 30s, I think around 1937. And what people did was they took the 250 3000 Savage and necked it down to 22 caliber. And so the parent case is the 250 3000 Savage. And Remington introduced and adopted this cartridge in 1965, and it is not the fastest 22 caliber that goes to Winchester's 220 Swift, but 22-250 Remington has dominated the market for fast 22 caliber varmint cartridges. And let's go ahead and see just what it does. And so first off, we're going to start with the smallest bullets, of course. And the smallest bullet you can shoot from Hornady is a 35 grain, and it's going 4,400 feet per second. It's pretty moving fast. A 40 grain at 4,100. And then with how versatile the 22 caliber bullets are, you can shoot all the way up to, if you have a fast twist rate, let's see here, 70 grains. Look at that, 80 grain. Yep, 80 grain. And look how fast you can push that, 3,200 feet per second. So it's quite versatile, a lot more versatile than the 204 Ruger. But if we go back to the smallest bullet weight and the highest velocity, technically 204 Ruger has the 22-250 Remington beat, because they can shoot a 24 grain bullet 4,500 feet per second. But when you start comparing them with the same weight, the 22-250 Remington definitely beats it. Now I want to talk about efficiency of each cartridge, specifically the grain capacity for each of them. Obviously, the 22-250 Remington on the right has a much bigger case capacity, so let's just see the differences and see which one's more efficient. In the Nosler book, it does give you the water grain capacity, which is really nice for these type of comparisons to see which one, has more capacity and kind of the efficiency. The 204 Ruger with a 40 grain bullet has about 30 grains of water capacity. With CFE 223 powder, you're right at 29.5 grains to get 3,800 feet per second. The 22-250 Remington with a same 40 grain bullet has a case capacity of 43 grains. So roughly around 13 more, a little more than 13 more grains of water capacity. Obviously, this case is bigger. Now, just funny enough, to get the top velocity in both the 40 grain bullets, you get to use CFE 223, and the load is 42.5 grains. So there's a 13 grain difference as well, but you're getting 500 more feet per second with the 22-250 Remington. So I think you could make an argument each way, which one's maybe a little more efficient. I think technically the 204 Ruger might be a little more efficient. You're getting 3,800 feet per second with only 29.5 grains of powder, while you have to burn 13 more grains of powder to get 4,300. But when you're burning 13 more grains of powder, you're getting 500 more feet per second. So again, I think it goes either way. I'm going to give a slight win of an efficiency to the 204 Ruger. Now let's just look at the ballistics downrange. We'll start with the 204 Ruger. 24 grain, it's a Nosler bullet with a BC of 0.170 with the muzzle velocity of 4,500 feet per second. Your energy, a little over 1,000 foot-pounds. Now, energy when you're prairie dog hunting, rock chuck hunting, I don't think it really matters. But we'll talk in a little bit about when you're going to want more energy in these cartridges. So, I mean, let's just take it out to 400 yards. Bullets going plenty fast. Your energy is pretty darn low. But again, I don't know if it really matters when you're shooting at prairie dogs. But what I think matters the most with these varmint cartridges is the drift and the drop. So 200 yards in a 10-mile-per-hour wind, you're going to have almost 5 inches of drift, but only a little less than an inch of drop. And 300 yards, again, these bullets with a really low BC are going to struggle in any type of wind conditions. But the drop is really impressive. 5.6 inches of drop at 300 and only 15.6 inches of drop at 400. Then Hornady and Ruger were set out to make a cartridge that can compete with the 22-250 with a lot less recoil. And the recoil is only 2.82 foot-pounds of energy in a 9-pound rifle. On to the 22-250 Remington with a 35 grain, same type of Hornady bullet, a little bit better BC, not a lot better, but a muzzle velocity of 4,400 feet per second. Your energy is almost 500 more foot-pounds. Again, I don't think it really matters on little varmint. Out to 400 yards, you're getting about 100 more foot-pounds of energy. Your bullet velocity is really about the same. And then if you notice with the drift throughout 100 to 400 yards, it's a little better than a 204 Ruger, but they're within all within an inch, and most of the time less. And then your drop, again, kind of the same story, all within an inch. And so if you're hunting prairie dog and other little varmints, I don't think there's really a huge difference with the 204 Ruger and a 22-250. Now recoil, it's going to be shocking, double amount of recoil. But when it's only 4 foot-pounds of recoil, it's really not that big of a deal. I just want to talk about a couple more things before I wrap this up. First off, let's talk ammo cost. You're not going to be surprised to know the 22-250 Remington is a bit more popular than a 204 Ruger. And so factory ammo is going to be a little bit cheaper for the 22-250 Remington. Now I just checked on Midway USA, and the cost difference isn't a ton, but on average you're going to pay around $37 for 22-250 Remington ammo and around $40 for 204 Ruger ammo. So if you're wanting to be a little more cost efficient, 22-250 Remington is cheaper. And the last thing I wanted to talk about is versatility. So what if you wanted to use one of these cartridges not only to shoot varmint, but also to shoot coyote? Well, I think the 22-250 Remington is a lot better for that. Not saying the 204 Ruger can't do it. It definitely can. But what you get in a 22 caliber is the large amount of bullet selection. Even with an old twist rate that the 22-250 Remington might have, you can shoot over 60 grain bullets, and you can shoot those 3,500 feet per second. Your energy is going to be about double that of the 204 Ruger. Lastly, which one would I pick between these two? Now, when I started making the videos for this and started thinking about this video, I was really heavily leaning towards the 204 Ruger. I think it's just a cooler cartridge, and you're shooting these tiny little bullets at ridiculous velocities. It just seemed more fun. But as I started doing the research and seeing the versatility and all the things you can do with the 22-250 and shooting bullets just as fast, I think I'm going to have to lean towards a 22-250 Remington. I think it's just a better all-around varmint cartridge. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks so much for watching.